Welcome to the Robert Hunt Financial Market Update. It's your host, Bobby Hunt. As we look at the week's financial news, it might be misleading,
confusing,
and take you off course. Try to make it actionable, understandable, and clear.
What a week, and therefore, what a show. Bobby Hunt with a great intro. Thank you, sir. We are glad to be back. Took a week off from the podcast around the local watering hole. Had listeners say, hey, noticed you took a week off. Well, we noticed too. And as glad as you are to have us back, we're glad to be back. We've got some excellent information. We're actually going to be delving into one of our favorite topics, artificial intelligence, the way I am using it today, the solutions it is coming up with, and the efficacy of those solutions. So that'll be at the top. We're going to talk a little bit about optimization. And Mr. Morgan Housel, one of our North Stars in the personal finance space. Mr. Morgan Housel, author of The Psychology of Money and a prolific blogger. He's got a blog titled Different Kinds of Smart that came out in June, but I want to circle back to. And then we get into politics just a bit, not too much. Don't you worry. This is a bipartisan podcast. We want everyone listening. Mr. Donald Trump has signed an order allowing alternative assets into your 401k. What do we make of that? Why is this happening? Let's get it started. At the top, I want to talk about artificial intelligence models. For those of you with your ear to the ground in this space, you'll know that GPT-5 was released on Thursday. Okay, so for us, as we record, that is today. What does that mean? Maybe not a lot. It just means that the models continue to get better and better the more time goes on. And I will say this. It has been my contention, at least in the past few weeks, that the older model, this GPT-4o Turbo that I'm using on ChatGPT, which I now believe ChatGPT is the premier engine for personal finance questions, that it is excellent. It is a really good model. And it allows for me, the financial practitioner, to have a very sharp analyst. So what I've been doing recently is running this AI engine through the paces, and it's been getting better and better and better. Is it smarter than you, Bobby?
No.
You still got, what do you think you know that the artificial intelligence agent does not know? What do you have? What's edge do you have on it?
I have my full name.
And it couldn't tell you that. If you, Bob, you got him there. Maybe that's the Turing test. Bobby Hunt asking the agent, and it doesn't know his name. So what's happened, Bob, is this artificial intelligence agent's gotten so smart that during meetings, I'm actually able to ask it difficult questions with the client there. It answers very quickly, very succinctly, and it keeps getting better. So that's just your AI update. But there are different kinds of smart, Bob. This is what Mr. Morgan Housel put out June 11, 2025. I have a Jeff Bezos quote for you. Do you know who Jeff Bezos is, Bob?
No.
You ever heard of Amazon?
Yes.
He started Amazon.com.
Ooh.
Pretty great, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So he says this. He says, the older I get, the more I realize how many kinds of smart there are. There are a lot of kinds of smart. There are a lot of kinds of stupid, too. What do you think he means by that, Bob? A lot of kinds of smart. What does that mean?
Like there's different kind of stuff that's smart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there are brands that might be called smart. There are brands that might be called dumb.
Yeah. Okay, brands.
Like they're in their name it says dumb or smart.
Mm-hmm. What I see him talking about, and he references this a little bit later, there's a story of a fund called Long-Term Capital Management. This is a 20-year anniversary of the bankruptcy of this. Basically what this was, Bob, is you had investors with a lot of academic smarts, perhaps smarter than any group ever before assembled, but they managed to lose all their money. So how do you think it was, Bob, that all the smartest people got in a room but they managed to lose all the money they were managing. How would that occur?
They were over smart.
Yeah. So the $5 word is hubris, ego. They weren't thinking about the different kinds of smart. They might have been very good in a certain area with intelligence, but there are lots of different kinds of smarts. Like you just proved, if you ask that AI agent, what's my name? It may not be able to see you. Now, in the future, Bob, it may know that. So we'll have to be prepared for that. But Mr. Housel goes through and outlines that just because you can model it in something called Excel doesn't mean it's going to get you the right answer. And boy, do I see this in personal finance a lot. We have lots of long-term capital management moments in my office, on the Zoom, on the Google Meet. I have them as well. I think I'm being super smart. And I'm really not, Bob. I'm really overthinking things. I'm making things more complex. You know how we love to watch Army football run the wishbone? One of the reasons why we love it is it's simple, right? Dive right, pitch right. It's just simple. Oftentimes, we can overthink a discipline like investing with poor results. So some of the things I see in my office, way too many funds in 401ks, way too many funds in brokerage accounts, way too many individual securities. Market timing is probably where a lot of us get into a whole bunch of trouble. Some of the most intelligent people I know have a real proclivity towards market timing. That's, Bob, where you think, ooh, if I invest now, is a better time to invest than 3 months from now or a year from now? Well, wait, I won't invest now, and I'm going to invest in 12 months because that'll be better. You're overthinking when to invest and using usually lots of data. I see this in the credit card game. You know how a credit card works, Bob?
Yeah, so you're basically just borrowing money from the bank. But a debit card, if you have an account in the bank, it just takes away money from your account.
This boy is brilliant, and if you could see it on video, he's wearing a Texas A&M jersey, which is appropriate for such a genius answer, my good sir. He's exactly right. So what happens, Bob, is these banks are so desirous of you to borrow money from them. That's the product they pitch is money. They effectively sell money. They let you borrow money. They have all these programs. So a lot of really intelligent folks, more intelligent than me, Bob, and that's hard to imagine, more intelligent than your father. They will get involved in lots of credit card reward programs. Not a bad thing, not a bad thing. But the amount of time spent optimizing in this area versus a whole host of other areas, usually not time well spent. I'm actually okay. I will give a blessing to a credit card reward optimization program so long as everything else is in order. You better have your estate plan in order, your taxes good, your portfolio better be perfect, spot on, not a single jot or tittle incorrect before you go on one of these journeys with the credit cards, because not helpful. And I liked this. There's a quote from the Housel long-term capital management story. He says this. There's a man named Patrick O'Shaughnessy. He wrote an email to his book club. Book clubs are pretty good, aren't they, Bob? So he said this: consistent with my growing belief that it is more productive to read around one's field than in one's field, there are no investing books on this list. He was basically saying, hey, I'm into investing. The problem I might have is if I only read investing books, I'm going to have a pretty narrow view of the world. And actually, I might be too smart for my own good. I won't have a comprehensive, I'll call it a liberal education, and that I understand other disciplines. Another quote for you. This is a Warren Buffett quote on the same long-term capital management meltdown. He says this, is one of my favorites, to make money they didn't have and didn't need. He's talking about long-term capital management, this fund. They risked what they did have and did need. And that is just plain foolish. If you risk something important to you for something unimportant to you, it just doesn't make any sense. So let's analogize that, Bob. Let's make that easy to understand for the listener. Basically, I'll paraphrase that and I say, don't risk what you have and what you need to get what you don't have and don't need. So, Bob, you probably love that dachshund at your feet right now, don't you? What's her name?
Fern.
We've got a short hair. So, Bob, would you risk Fern in order to get $1?
No.
Never. Why would you risk what you have and what you need, which is you already got a dog, in order to get $1? We would never do that. In investing, we can trick ourselves because we so want more dollars that we'll take bizarre risks. And in this instance, these fund folks at Long-Term Capital Management took bizarre risks that wound up leading them to a road to ruin. So humility, understanding that we may not be right, these are very, very, very important things. So, Bob, when you don't know something, what are you going to do in the future? What do you think you should do when you don't know something?
Maybe ask AI.
Maybe ask AI, right?
Because I know my name and my first name.
Yeah, so maybe ask AI. Well, who else could you ask besides the AI?
My dad.
There you go. So, although I understand, Bob, the AI is pretty smart, but if we don't know something, we've got to be willing to ask others much, much better for us. I'll confess, Bob, I asked the AI to put together a list of the very best municipal bond exchange traded funds, and it did a pretty good job. It didn't do the perfect one. It gave a pretty good list. So the AI, I would say, gives good answers that are correct. Are they Robert Hunt Financial blessed answers? Not always, but they're good. They're good. They are good enough. And Bob, I want to talk about 401ks. Bob, do you know what a 401k is?
No.
All right. Have you ever seen, well, I'm trying to think of a movie or a book, but I know. We can talk Roblox here. Okay. You know how in some Roblox games, Bob's learning Roblox. It's one of these games online where you learn and build stuff, where you gain more wood and store it away.
Mm-hmm.
A 401k is like that for people's dollars in real life. You store money away to grow, to use at a later date. It's called 401k, which is a boring name because that's the paragraph of the IRS tax code. So boring, but it's been popularized, 401k. A change was made. So did you know currently there are pretty strict rules on what you can invest in the 401k? So Roblox, it's like wood, right? You just grab wood, that's all you do. In the 401k, it's usually just plain vanilla stocks and bonds. So you know what a stock is?
Well,
Guess. Just throw out a guess for the audience.
it's a lot of money with. Forgot it because I haven't been on the podcast as much.
You need more business on the podcast? Okay, it's a fractional ownership share in a company. So you know McDonald's, you like to go to the Happy Meal. Did you know you can buy a share of McDonald's in the company and own a really small portion of the company? It's for sale every day on the stock market, Monday through Friday. So that's what a stock is, a fractional ownership piece in a company. Do you know what a bond is, Bob?
No.
Okay, a bond is more like a promise. So it's a promise that a company or government makes that they will repay with interest the money borrowed. So in these 401ks, which we've decided were these places where you put resources and you store them away, they've changed the rules, Bob. President Trump changed the rules. We kind of know why he did it. He's got folks in his cabinet that really love cryptocurrencies. CNBC, what's cryptocurrency?
Crypto?
I never thought you'd ask, Bob. You know what a currency is, like the U.S. dollar, the Japanese yen, or the euro? It's what governments. So when you take a piece of paper, Bob, and it says a $5 bill, that's a currency. It's a U.S. dollar currency. Cryptocurrencies are digital currencies, not controlled by a sovereign government, that people trade back and forth and can use, and they're still pretty new. It's kind of the wild, wild west, but a lot of people have done really well with cryptocurrencies. If the show has time, I've got a crazy story I'll share about cryptocurrencies. But President Trump signed an executive order, and he directs the U.S. Secretary of Labor to review fiduciary guidance on private market investments. It's according to this article in CBC, a major victory for some industry folks. I think it's a major loss for the investor. That's our hot sports opinion, and I know we get a lot of letters in the mail about this stuff. No, we don't, Bob. But if we did, the fan mail may not like this. But as much as our listeners may like Ayn Rand and the libertarian bent, let anyone do what they do, the longer I'm in the personal finance space, the less interested I am in giving people a ton of choices with their investments. I think it's a road to ruin. I think fear and greed are really powerful. I would be saddened if someone walked into my office in their 401k and it was 100% cryptocurrency. So the 100% of their retirement, and maybe they'll have rules that limit this. I could be being too dramatic. And of course, cryptocurrencies have done very well over just about any time period. So I will confess that stock market has not done as well as Bitcoin in particular over the last 10, 5, basically you name the time period, it wins. But private equity as well, we have a real risk here that people can not go plain vanilla and they can wind up with zeros.
Around since World War One.
No, so I'm gonna read a story to you, Bob, about Bitcoin since you're asking about the history. If you put $100 in Bitcoin in 2010, you'd have $2.8 billion now. Big number. But check out this journey. Friend of the show sent this to me. You would go from if you bought $100 in Bitcoin in 2010, you'd go to 1,000, 100,000, and 1.7 million. Then you'd go back to 170,000 because of volatility. Then you go to 110 million. Then it go from 110 back to 18 million. Then it went from 18 million to 390 million. Then 390 million to 85 million. Then 85 million to 1.6 billion. Then 1.6 billion down to 390 million. Then 390 million to 2.8 billion. Yes, from $100 in 2010, it'd be worth 2.8 billion today. But boy, howdy, would that be a journey. And you know what I like to do? I like to keep my costs
Low.
My investing
Simple.
and my time horizon.
Rising long.
There you go. So this violates my simple because when the private equity comes in and various crypto products, certain real estate products, no me gusto, Bob. For my listeners in España, no me gusto means I do not like that. I want people to have fewer choices. That's one of the things with the new Trump accounts. Okay, maybe it sounds great. That's just another choice for a parent to have to look at and make a decision with. I want fewer and fewer decisions. Fewer and fewer decisions for people to make. And I want to close, Bob. So keep it simple. Basically, use AI. Use it well. Keep it simple.
Are you going to tell a story?
I'm going to tell a story. Now, listen, this is politics, Bob. See, this will be a trip down memory lane for some and not for you. Listen to this. President Clinton noted in his January 2000 State of the Union speech, this is a Housel deal, he said this: we begin the new century with over 20 million new jobs, the fastest economic growth in more than 30 years, the lowest unemployment rate in 30 years, the lowest poverty rate in 20 years, lowest African-American and Hispanic employment rates on record, the first back-to-back surplus in 42 years, and next month America will achieve the longest period of economic growth in entire history. You know what happened after that? One of the worst decades in stock market history for the U.S. from 2020. Isn't that crazy? All that good news preceded a terrible market. Check this out. In January 2010, Obama in the State of the Union said this: 1 in 10 Americans still cannot find work. Many businesses have shuttered. Home values have declined. Small town and rural communities have been hit especially hard. And for those who'd already known poverty, life has become much harder. You know what happened after that speech? One of the greatest stock market runs in the history. So what does that teach you, Bob? What does that teach you about bad news in stock markets?
It teach you good news probably is about to come, and bad news happens, and good news, and then bad news, and the good news, and then bad news, and good news, and bad news.
Yeah, it's cyclical. It is cyclical. So we've got to really tighten our focus and direct it towards what matters. And what matters in investing, Bob?
Keep your costs low, keep your investing simple, keep your time rising long.
Until next week, well done.